All right, we're good to go.
Okay, I will call the special meeting to order on February 22nd, 2022 at 4 p.m. And that's all I need to do to start out because we're at a special meeting. So let's go right into the item 2A, the Walker construction adjustment.
Thank you, Laura. This is a little housekeeping I need to do. Actually, 2 years ago, we established the not to exceed amount for the GCCM contracts at a special meeting. And you'll see that I've got Walker's in the center of the page. I've got a little financial section there. And there's an item called pre-construction design services in the amount of $150,000. My formula didn't grab that total for my action item, so my not to exceed amount is short by that amount. So this isn't a financial concern. This is, I didn't get my agenda item to set the not to exceed at the right amount. It's important, and I'll explain in a moment why. The same thing happened on the Garco contract because these were done in the same action item. And in fact, it's in this packet, you can see it. But Garco, their contract came in under that not to exceed amount, so it didn't matter. I think I'm getting a little too close on Walker, so I want to correct this error. Also, while we're here, if you look at that lower financial section, the third row is the children's area. There's $66,000 there. That's the installation for the children's area. That was under design when we did the Walker contract. So that isn't in their not to exceed amount. We didn't even know what that would be. So if you'll turn to the next page, currently I've got $374,000 remaining in the board approved not to exceed amount for Walker. I'd like to increase that for the sum of those two items by $216,000. That would bring us to $590,000. I feel that right now, based on what I know about the projects, that's enough to finish it out. That's all within our budget. I just didn't get the board approval in the not to exceed threshold amount. I do want to mention, however, there is a recent development with the wood veneer on the Boulders, and the Boulders are kind of geometric walls at the central branch, and there's some concerns around the wood grain. And I haven't seen this. Andrew did take a look at it. But we think there's going to be some costs associated with that, but they are kind of rewinding who's responsible for how did we get here. And so even I think we might have to contribute some towards this. If we do, I'm feeling I can easily absorb it in this $590,000, but I do want to make that known, because if I can't, and we continue with the items that I am aware of, I could be back for an increase to the contract. But right now, I just merely want to recognize that Walker is going to install the children's area, and I want to correct my formula error on that agenda item. So my request to the board is to approve an increase to the Walker construction not to exceed amount from $25,150,224 to now $25,366,754, which corrects the error and allows for the graphics and installation of the children's area.
All right, anybody have any more questions for Penny? All right, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes. All right, and now we have item 2B, which is the Meridian construction contract.
Thank you. Okay, so recall in November, we rejected all of the bids that came in for Indian Trail and South Hill due to how high they were above our budget. We set out to restructure the bids in a way that we used alternates. The alternates would give us the ability to drop components of the bid if the base came in too high. We opened bids on February 15th, and unfortunately, we only had one bidder, Meridian Construction. The feedback that we received from the general contractors were that they couldn't get their subs to get the pricing. The bid came in almost, it was within $30,000 of what it was when we looked at the bids in November. So we're still over budget. The difference is we've now closed November, December, and January in our financial year. We're further down the road with Central. So it feels a little different to me to now go look at our in-service branches and try to scrape up the funding from the remaining budgets there. And it, of course, would result in the use of our interest that we brought into the 2022 adopted budget. The base bid with allowances and alternates, we did accept all the, I guess that's a question to the board. We would like to accept all the alternates. Now that I went through all of the budgets for our in-service branches, and I've got a list on the next page, and you can see where I've pulled funding from. The alternates that we would like to accept are all the bathroom finish upgrades for both Indian Trail and South Hill. We have program room upgrades at Indian Trail, ceiling and lighting upgrades at Indian Trail, and a boiler. All of the other items remained in the base bid. What did we lose? If you want to compare it to the November bid, we didn't get the infrastructure change at Indian Trail, which would have switched the staff room with the program room. And that took a lot of structural work. It was a very expensive component. And we didn't get the outdoor patio. Now, there were some items that were in those bids that were never in the original Group of 4 scope, such as resurfacing the parking lots, some paver work at South Hill, some exterior lighting packages at South Hill. Those aren't in this contract, but we are able to do that work outside of, we do not have to do that with Meridian. What we can do is continue to get Central closed, go a little further into these projects, and then we can bid that work out separate. We can, Mark Daly felt no big deal to put the lighting packages on the outside of South Hill if we want to do that. We can easily bid the paving or the surface work and restriping at both Indian Trail and South Hill. And then if we want to do the paver, it's like some sidewalk paving, we can add that too. So we can add that at a later date when we know our available funding. If you'll turn to the next page, you'll see I had to find $3.2 million. That was our shortfall. And I have in the middle of the page, you'll see where I've taken the funding sources. 2.3 came straight out of our interest. The rest of it, I went into our furniture budgets. I know pretty much where we are with our furniture. So Shadle, we knew had some cushion there. Group 4 had that one over budget, and we've known that. Now it was to our benefit to pull that out. So I pulled the furniture contingencies. They're not going to be needed. So I took that from all the sites. I had a little bit of professional services and some extra construction contingency at Liberty and Hyde. So with all of that, I've been able to fill the 3.2 void. For all intensive purposes, our interest earnings are over with. So I just, we kind of had a heyday on that. We're right now earning about 0.97%. And my average daily balance is dropping as we make payments. So what that equates to about $10,000 a month. So we'll still get about $10,000 a month, but that'll decrease as our spending decreases. After I pull that funding, if you'll take a look at that lower half of the page, you'll see that it still leaves my in-service branches with $2.2 million in budget capacity. So we are still able to continue to close these projects out. And we do continually find things that need to be addressed. For instance, motorized blinds at the Hive Studios became necessary over some events that we had. So we're still poised to be able to address those as these projects wind down. Any questions on that before I move to the next page? Okay. So my request to the board tonight is to approve execution of a contract with Meridian Construction. And a contract would be prepared by Perkins Coie for the renovation of Indian Trail and South Hill Branch in an amount not to exceed $6,612,000. Where the actual contract will be executed in an amount of $5.8 million, which does include the alternates, base bid, allowances, and sales tax. And it establishes a construction contingency in the amount of $799,000 for potential change orders. So this is a request to execute and establish a not to exceed amount. Mike Piccolo has reviewed this, and in fact, Graham Wallace at Perkins has already completed the contract, and we have that signed already by Mike Piccolo, and it's on record and waiting for board approval.
So the places that you found the 2.3 doesn't include any of the budget for Central.
No, I am just adamant to leave Central alone. Okay. That remaining not to exceed threshold that I made reference in the first item, 590,000, that's equal to our remaining contingency, and that's after we had a large change order that's been many months in the making, and some of that's just takes a long time to get the pricing, but it's also, I think it's just the size of this project, and it might be a little bit of the contractor style. So we work these change order proposals constantly, and they go on and on and on, and we did just finally execute a large one. I'm expecting probably another large one and then wind down this project. So I did not want to touch Central at all. And I don't even have the picture of the books on here or technology or materials handling, because for me, those are untouchables.
And that also aligns with our strategy from last November, is really still having that concern with Central. It is that big project, but at the same time, trying to protect that, trying to execute on those projects, but also, being responsible and having enough money for this contract that we're looking for approval for tonight.
One thing we did different on this, the construction contingency for South Hill in Indian Trail. Historically, the projects have been established at 10% of construction, but because of escalation, we did establish that at 15%. So we might have a little extra there. No harm done in just setting that off to the side, but that's what we did in terms of just being prudent.
And so I just want to make sure that I'm understanding everything correctly, that there's still at the bottom of that middle page of your proposal, there's still 2.287 million, 2.287 available to finish out those projects that are listed there.
Yes.
After you've borrowed the 3 million to cover
yes.
the contract. And
so
those are really close. So a lot of those figures are known now.
These are remaining budgets. So these are uncommitted.
Okay.
So I have, I'm not representing what's already encumbered and committed. This is truly what we have left to spend on these projects.
Okay. And then conceivably, once those really do finally get to close out, that's where we might find extra money for the lighting and those items that are not.
Exactly. I look for us to be able to do those. We felt it was prudent to remove them from the bid packages because they just didn't rise to the core what we were trying to do for these two branches.
And then if we were to be in a situation where all of the bond funds are expended and we hadn't gotten around to getting those projects done, remind me, do we have a capital kind of account that we saved from our regular library budget that we could give to?
There is a reserve for part of the operations fund balance includes a reserve for capital, which I think is running about $400,000 to $500,000 right now. That's when Nicole says that she excludes that from the daily cash number of days.
Yep.
And there's board policy requires that operations interest earnings add to that pot. They scoot over there, and if there's sale of assets, and if there's, not that we sell a lot of assets, but if there is any sale, that the proceeds from that get added to that reserve or fund capital fund.
Yes, and I do want to add a quick comment. Due to with the 2021 year-end close, that balance of the reserve for capital is $639,700.
Oh, great. So even better. And just to put a bow on this, we have the bond projects have to wrap up in 5 years. That's what they're established for. What we can do is if we get into late 2024 and we've got some funds available, we have to be entered into a commitment or an executed contract, but we can seek bond counsel assistance and establish an extension because we have incomplete committed contracts. So I'm not at all advocating for that, but just to let you know, if we get into 2024 and we find that we haven't been able to spend that all of the money, we just have to get it into an executed contract and then get the waiver, and we can continue on beyond that date.
All right, any other questions for Penny? All right, can I get a motion to approve the Meridian contract as presented?
I so moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hearing none, motion passes.
That's all I had tonight.
Hi, Matt. How are you?
Good. Sorry I'm late.
I think we just finished.
I know. Well, I was thinking 4:30, and then I realized, no, it's 4 o'clock today. So.
Well, we approved everything. Did you want to add any additional comments about the contract that's were presented?
Let's go. Let's get it done.
Okay. All right. Well, we have reached the end of our agenda. Our next regular meeting will be Tuesday, March 15th, 2022 at 4:30 p.m. Did we get any public comment that we need to address?
None.
All right. And we don't have any executive session. So unless somebody has something else to add, I think we're ready to adjourn.
Thank you.
You all.
See you later.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you, Penny.
Bye.
Great job,